where tonight the code word is espionage. Concealed amongst you are 4 masters of disguise. Special Agent Joe Brand! Undercover man Clive Anderson! Counterintelligence operative Vic Reeves! And the spy in the ointment, Alan Davis. Please identify yourself by your call signs. Joe goes... Clive goes... Vic goes... And Alan goes...
I spy with my little eye.
And remember, in Series E, the watchword is constant vigilance. If you spy an elephant in the room, inform your handler immediately. Now, first question. Do you know how to beat a lie detector? Sure.
Spot of gentle masturbation.
There's a kind of logic in what you're saying. Could you expand, as it were? You know what I mean? Why would that help?
Well, it would help because you'd get yourself into a slightly different sort of state of consciousness so that you would fool the lie detector into thinking that something was going on that actually wasn't going on.
I don't think that's going to work because if you're rubbing your genitals or they're in a state of excitement, you lie naturally anyway, so it'd be obvious whatever you say is a lie.
Well...
I do love you.
What's it called? A stenograph?
Well, it's a polygraph.
Polygraph.
Well, a polygraph. They kind of test the detect your sweat and...
There are a number of things. Sweat, palpitations, vibrations in the body and various clenchings of muscles and so on. But in order to see how it works, you obviously have to ask people a series of questions to which they don't lie, like their name and their address. These are called control questions. So if you want to beat it, when you're being asked what your name is, sort of behave as if you were lying. In other words, either think very exciting thoughts or clench your anal sphincter. They have a pad, a lot of these things, where they sense involuntary clenches of the sphincter, which is a sign, apparently, of lying.
Is it?
So if you do it when you're telling the truth, they get completely thrown when you lie because it's the same response. That's the point.
Well, it's odd, because on this programme, I've always got this, sitting here waiting for the next question. I can calibrate my anal sphincter from...
You have to stand up in court, Clive.
Oddly enough, you can't use it in court in this country.
No, you can't, and you can't in America, and they are just simply nonsense. I mean, the FBI have said that they're about as much use as astrology and tea leaves. Do you remember who invented the polygraph machine?
Polygraph herself.
His name was William Marston, and he was the inventor of Wonder Woman.
Well, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic range of things, to Wonder Woman and the polygraph.
It is, isn't it?
That's an achievement.
A wide spectrum, exactly.
A wide spectrum will give you away.
Please.
That's the person they're looking for.
But the point is, you have to contract your anal sphincter. I say anal sphincter because, of course, there are actually lots of sphincters in the body, but the anal one...
Well, why are you concentrating on the anal one?
Because that's where they have a detector in a pad.
A detective, yes.
A detector.
Yeah. It's always the youngest one on the... Right, you're underneath.
But you mustn't clench...
No, I've heard of going undercover, but this is ridiculous.
Is he clenching it? No, not yet.
You have to tighten the sphincter without clenching...
No, nothing yet, sir. Hang on, how does this work?
Can you do it without clenching your buttocks, though? Can you tighten the sphincter? Yeah, that's what you have to do. That's the little practice needed, just so that you can tighten the sphincter, but don't clench your buttocks.
I'm strengthening my pelvic floor, I know I am.
Yeah, doing that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
What's this pad look like? Has he got a tube?
I'm doing it now, I'm doing it now. Do I look like I'm lying?
Try not to roll your eyes. Try not to roll your eyes so you're going to
gripping
see
quite
the
hard
lights.
on the seat.
The other way to beat the test is quite the opposite, is to relax completely. There's a man called Aldrich Ames, who was a double agent who worked for the Soviets, but was also a CIA operative, and he beat the polygraph twice, and he was very nervous when he was going to be examined by the CIA, who were sort of onto him, and his Soviet handler said, get a good night's sleep and rest, go into the test rested and relaxed, be nice to the polygraph examiner, develop a rapport, be cooperative, and try and maintain your calm, and that was enough to beat it twice.
You're certainly going to be nice to the one who's shoving the thing up your anal sphincter, aren't you? It's the nature of things.
You'd be pathetic with gratitude, wouldn't you? Yeah. Well, there you are. Apparently, the key to beating the lie detector is a discreet flexing of your anal sphincter. What's the best way to trick a female spy into exposing herself?
The best-known female spy was Mata Hari.
Yes, she was.
And you didn't need to get her to expose herself because she'd already done it, because before she was a spy, she was a bit of an exotic, erotic dancer.
She was that. I meant expose herself in purely innocent terms of reveal herself to be a spy from another country. Someone, for example, this was actually discovered by Heinrich Müller, the head of the Gestapo. He discovered...
Do you have sexual intercourse with her and she cries out in her original language?
You're so close. You're absolutely...
I don't care if I'm right or not, I just want to try it a few times. And,
Unfortunately, there is a 9-month gap.
You get her pregnant,
Yes.
and then if she's from Sweden, she says, I like to call the baby Leif, then you know.
Apparently, according to the Gestapo,
Birth
when
pains
a woman...
bring out your original language.
When a woman screams with birth pain, she can't help doing it in her own language.
Guessing.
It's not terribly efficient, time-wise.
No. It is the
we need to know where the bomb has been planted. just a minute, sir, I'll get it out of her.
It obviously is a weight. That is the huge disadvantage. But a female Russian radio operator operating in Germany during World War II was exposed this way. When pregnant, she couldn't help swearing in Russian, having spoken perfect German and being taken to be a German. Heinrich Müller was the head of the Gestapo and was probably the only senior Nazi to escape completely without trace. He walked out of the Führer bunker, 29th of April 1945, and was never seen or heard of again.
Until tonight.
Until I believe. Now, what did Harry Houdini hide behind the mirror?
Ooh. We know he was killed by somebody punching him in the stomach.
Boy, wasn't it?
Doing
Yes,
doing
as a
one of his
student.
usual tricks, but he
I
wasn't ready for it.
He hid one of those.
You are right! Yes. Well done. Elephant in the room. Very good indeed.
So how did he hide an elephant behind a mirror?
It was his greatest stage illusion. He was said to be not a very good magician, partly because his personality was very tiresome and he just didn't have any panache on stage.
I can't think of any magicians like that today.
Oh, no. He was obviously a great escapologist, but he brought this elephant called Jenny onto stage and instantly she disappeared in front of the audience, and it was a remarkable trick. No one knew how he did it, and he didn't reveal the secret. But having said
Well,
that...
the elephant knew.
The elephant, apparently...
Never forgot. Never forgot.
Actually, Houdini is quoted as saying even the elephant does not know how it is done.
Yeah.
Essentially, it involved a mirror folding back that revealed an identically done box in the flies of the thing, so it reflected back and made it look as if you were looking at the empty crate.
All done with mirrors.
All done with mirrors, exactly. And it was impressive for those who sat in the right place.
The best things he did, Houdini, were going around the place exposing charlatans and frauds. That's what he was really good at.
You're absolutely right.
He knew when people were tricking people out of money and conning people.
Well, like all magicians, obviously, you only have to look at someone who claims to be a spiritualist or a mind reader, and you know they're just using magic. I mean, it's what Darren Brown does, it's what James Randi does in America. So, who did Harry Houdini come in combative relations to? Because there was a great man of the age who, rather tragically, did believe in spiritualism and mediums and the dead people being able to talk.
No, not
Was it?
It was a Briton.
Wasn't Conan Doyle or
It
somebody?
was Arthur Conan Doyle,
yeah.
the creator of Sherlock Holmes, who sadly
He believed in
devoted the
fairies
last
or-
20 or 30 years of his life to believing in fairies and spiritualism and things, and Houdini was foursquare against it. But it was a period when a lot of people did sort of believe in this kind of phlogiston.
There's a
and
great story about
ectoplasm.
Conan Doyle, actually. Just for a joke one day, he wrote a note saying, "We are discovered, flee immediately," and he sent it to 5 of his friends to see what they would do, and one of them disappeared. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And he had no idea why, but they never saw him again.
So Houdini, yes, as you were saying, he was punched in the stomach by a student whose name was J. Gordon Whitehead. Apparently he wasn't ready Because he'd claimed he could be punched at any time by anyone and he could take that punch. But this guy just tapped him on the shoulder and went like that before he could tense his muscles. Supposedly, that's what ruptured something and caused peritonitis, though it's now believed that he might actually have had appendicitis already. So it merely just exacerbated it.
Didn't make the student feel any better, though, did it? Yeah,
but there's been a recent demand to have his body exhumed, and it may even be so.
You never get it out. Never get it out of the coffin.
Hey, very good.
It won't be in there.
But they want to test it for poison because there are those who believe that spiritualists poisoned him because he was giving them such a bad name. But I think that's...
Can you test bones if you've been poisoned?
Oh, you can test bodies for poison because the hair, which never goes away, that retains a lot of poison.
That's what you think.
Very good. Houdini was pretty remarkable, though. He could pick up pins with his eyelashes. Eyelashes still attached to his
I
eyes.
do that.
Yeah, can you? Well, there you are. You're pretty extraordinary. You can also undo
Not
knots.
much of a stage act, though, is it?
No, but it was a technique he used for his escapology, that's the point.
Oh, I see.
When he was naked and he was bound and he was in a cell, he probably managed to get to the cell beforehand and leave pins almost invisibly there that he could then pick up, manoeuvre down to his mouth, and then use... He could undo knots and thread a needle with his toes.
Penis.
Yeah, with his feet, exactly.
No penis.
Oh, with his penis. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misread. No, it is actually toes, fun enough. You're on this occasion not right, Alan. I don't know how that could be. Anyway, Houdini hid an elephant in the hippodrome and never told anybody where he'd put it. How can you tell when you've run out of invisible ink, however?
Don't you discover... You see what invisible is there by putting lemon or something on it, so you'd have to just
It is
check...
lemon.
Lemon
Oh, it is
itself
lemon.
is the invisible
well,
ink.
when you put something on it to make it, you heat it up?
Heat
or-
it.
Heat it. So you'd have to keep heating it and check,
Exactly.
oh, that's all right. Yeah, no.
Exactly, that's what you do. There's a lemon, the popular household ones are lemon and milk, oddly enough, will do it. But the man who founded MI6, whose code name was C, who was a very eccentric and extraordinary man, he discovered something else that could work as invisible ink, something that all his spies carried around with them. Exactly, exactly. He said, every man has his own stylo. His name, rather pleasingly, was Mansfield Smith Cumming. It's all true.
My name is Cumming. Mansfield Smith Cumming.
I should imagine he couldn't even write his own name, though, could he? It's a bit long. Do you know what I mean?
True.
You just do a C.
Oh, Lorks.
You do it on the ceiling. When he was a younger man, I was...
Yes, obviously. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
There's a painting by Marcel Duchamp called The Bride Strip.
Bear by the Bachelors.
Yeah, well, there's a sort of smudgy affair on it. And he was in love with this woman. He had an affair with this woman for a long time, and whenever he thought about her, he filled one of his paint pots
With his
thoughts.
With his...
And they analysed the paint, which was between two pieces of glass,
Yeah.
and they analysed the smudge, and it is just a huge amount of semen.
Oh, well, they're very
And
interesting.
he knew about what that painting was about, but no one else did.
That's rather pleasing, isn't it? It's a gift to his loved one. Do you know that story of the Pittsburgh bank robber was arrested while robbing a bank? He was seen on squinting rather oddly, but on a surveillance camera in the bank, and he was astonished to be stopped by the police. And he said, "But how did you see me? I had the lemon juice all over my face." Somebody had told him that if he covered himself in lemon juice, he wouldn't be visible. This was in 1995. Bless him.
You can also get rid of a port wine stain on the face with lemon.
Can you?
No.
I fall for it every time. It's pathetic, isn't it? Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, invisible ink. The answer to a question that we can't tell anybody has ever asked. Something more tangible now, however. How did loo paper help to win the Cold War?
Was there a shortage of loo paper in the eastern part of the world? And
There was a
Yes.
shortage of loo paper behind the Iron Curtain.
The loo paper was made in America, let's say, and then they didn't let the Russians have any, so they were confused.
That would have been clever, but what happened is the Russians instead used documents and all kinds of things for loo paper because there was nothing else to use. And an operation called
Documents?
Operation Tamarisk meant that the spies behind the Iron Curtain had to go into these bins and find the paper that had been used, because it wasn't soluble like lavatory paper, so it couldn't be used in the sewage system. So it was just thrown out in bins.
Gone right off spying now.
Yeah, you see?
I was thinking it's quite glamorous.
It's not all glamour, I'm afraid, because in military hospitals, the paper refuse that they went through also contained amputated limbs. And the spies were complaining to their handlers back in America and the UK and France and said, you know, this is horrible, we've got to go through these bins and there's these amputated limbs, we've got to go through those as well as used lavatory paper. And of course their spy master said, oh, bring back the limbs as well, we want to see what sort of shrapnel they're using. So they had to carry around severed limbs and excreted matter.
So if they stopped going through customs, could you just open the bag?
It's a bit of a shock.
Yes.
Even for a customs officer who's seen everything.
For personal use.
Yeah. But apparently, according to The Hidden Hand by Richard Aldridge, a book that covers this, it says that Operation Tamarisk was very successful. Maybe without it, we'd still have communist Russia, who knows. But how would you use gummy bears to rob a bank?
Pass them over. I need to look at them.
I thought you might. I might just take a handful myself, because I happen to be rather partial. Aren't they good?
What I would do is sneak up behind the bank clerks and push them into their eyes. And when they couldn't, you know, perhaps on a hot day, so they couldn't actually peel them off, I just go rifle through the drawers, get rid.
Any other thoughts?
It's a simple bribery.
There's not much people wouldn't do for a gummy bear.
No, gummy bear.
Bring them to life and use them as a tiny jelly army.
Yes, I want to see that.
If you stuck them all over your face, they could be a brilliant disguise, because you'd just look like an idiot with lots of sweet stuff to say. They'd never suspect you.
It would be called barefaced cheek, wouldn't it?
Are they made...
Sorry.
Can you use them as some kind of plastic explosives? Are they in that family?
It's, well, not gelignite, but what are they made of?
Gelatin.
Gelatin, yeah. If you melt them down...
You can make a whale.
A Japanese cryptographer whose name is Tsutomu Matsumoto has found that he can fool 80% of all fingerprint detectors using a fake finger made from gummy bears. You get someone's finger and you dip it in the mould material and you make a mould. Then you pour the gelatin into the mould and you've got yourself a little gummy finger.
You do that when you go to America now, they make you do that.
Yes, they do.
So you've got to get the bank manager to put his finger in your gum first.
That was his first thing. Obviously, he was doing it as an experiment, but he's discovered with the same rate of success, all he has to do is just take someone's fingerprint photographed off glass, and he can make a gummy finger. So there, an unwilling person...
You can use a monkey.
Well...
They've got fingerprints.
Well, they have, but you have to have the fingerprints that are recognised by the machine. So the monkey that runs that particular company that you want to get into, obviously. Or what would happen, though, if you worked in the pineapple industry?
Free pineapples.
Yeah. You would get free pineapples, but can you think of anything related to your fingerprints and pineapples?
Well, they're quite spiky.
They are spiky, that's true.
The pineapple is the only fruit to have fingerprints.
It has an enzyme, which is called bromelain, because they're bromeliads, aren't they, pineapples? And bromelain actually erases and destroys the fingerprints of people who work with pineapples. It was used as a plot point in an episode of Hawaii Five-0, would you believe?
Episode 1, I should think.
Yeah.
Pineapples would be very good if you've got mouth ulcers, so that would, I assume, be the same sort of process. Seizing up your mouth ulcers, removing your fingerprints.
Proteolysis, it's called, which is the eating of proteins by enzymes, the digestion of them.
So if I left my fingers in a tin of pineapple rings overnight, I could become a master criminal by morning.
It's perfectly possible.
You just have 5 pineapple chunks. What are you doing? I'm preparing for the raid.
If you didn't have any fingerprints, would you be allowed into America?
That would mean somebody without any hands wouldn't be allowed to
That
go.
mean there would be no pineapple workers in America?
Yeah, and that way madness lies, surely. Now, what's the best thing to do in a falling lift? Yes.
Well, strictly speaking, I don't know, but I'd like to say that I once interviewed a man who had been in a falling lift, and we were investigating the theory, which I know I'll lose points for if I say it out loud, that by jumping up just before it hits the ground, you can sort of say... We were investigating the theory.
It's a very unfair to forfeit you there.
He was sort of very deadpan about it, and he had survived this experience, and he sort of said that maybe jumping up may have helped. But
what about making everyone else in the lift lie down so that when you splat on the ground, you're sort of cushioned by that?
This is it. This is more or less what Clive was saying about the thing. It is basically lie on a fat person as you're going down.
No wonder everyone smiles when I get in a lift.
What do you mean you get in and never lie down? It's a long journey.
Which I often do.
Sometimes they give the rather alarming device and bend your knees slightly just so that when you hit the ground your thigh bones don't go up through your abdomen, but that's pretty unpleasant.
Has this ever happened?
Well,
So
yes
the
and no.
rope snaps and you say, would you mind lying down if I could lie on top?
you've only got a couple of seconds to think about
hurtling
it.
to the ground. First of all, it is a very improbable scenario because multiple cables support every lift, each cable capable of holding the entire lift.
There's no rope, then?
If they were all to go, they have emergency brakes on them, and they have had since, the 1850s and 60s.
Don't you think they should tell people that write thrillers about that?
Yeah, they don't have strange little vents that you can climb up through.
Ground,
Yeah.
aren't
But what is it when there are people who are frightened of being in lifts? What are they actually frightened of? Are they frightened of this happening?
Or getting stuck, a kind of claustrophobia mixed with that. In a skyscraper, the lift can achieve speeds of up to 120 miles an hour by the time it hits the bottom. But the problem with jumping is it might take 5 miles per hour off this 120 if you did it. You'd have to time it perfectly. Plus, lifts bounce because there are springs at the bottom. So you'd be in real trouble. You'd bang your head and everything. So, yeah, basically just get the impact cushioned is the answer. Now, there was a time when all the cables on a lift were sheared off in the Empire State Building. Do you know about this story?
Oh, there's a huge ape on the outside. I've seen it. It's pork. It's covered in...
It was beauty.
Dreadful.
It was beauty brought down the lift.
Sounds
No, it
like
wasn't
a
that.
murder attempt of some sort.
No, it was
Criminal act.
It was an aeroplane, a B-25 bomber in 1945, collided with the building in an eerie foreshadowing of 9/11, I suppose you would say. In fact, it's the only time before 9/11 such a thing had happened. Killed 11 office workers, and one of the engines broke off and actually sheared through all the cables on a lift. There were 2 women in that lift. The brakes did work, and they went all the way down to the bottom and survived because they just slowed it right down. So it proved Otis's point that, their safety measures are pretty damn good. So there you have it. Yes, the best thing to do in a falling lift is to lie on top of a fat person like me. So, to the padded cell of general ignorance, where our victims protest that they know nothing, but we go ahead and torture them anyway. In which country are you most likely to see a tornado?
I spy with my little eye.
Yes, Hassan.
I'm going Russia.
It is not the right answer.
Luxembourg.
A wild stab in the dark, or do you know something?
I know something.
No, it's not right. Yes.
Derbyshire. I know it's going to be somewhere like that, isn't it?
It's a country rather than a county. Yep.
America.
Oh, Joe, you fell for it.
Someone had to do it.
Mongolia.
No.
Kazakhstan.
Are you going to go through all the stans? Because
Yes.
I'm going to say no to them all. Not Tazak,
Can
not
we do...
Uzbeki.
Can you give us a clue? Can you give us a continent?
Yes, we're in it.
Europe.
We're even more in it.
England.
The United Kingdom
England,
is the right
yeah.
answer, yes.
Well, hang on then, Stephen. You've got to back this up. When did you last see a tornado in
There was
in
one
the
in
United Kingdom?
Birmingham last... It was on the news.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
county.
it.
On the 21st of November 1981, there were 104 tornadoes in Britain in a single day.
Which day?
21st of November 1981. A University of Leeds study in 2004 suggested the actual average number of tornadoes in Britain is higher than 100 a year, so it's one every 3 days, roughly. But meteorologist Dr. Tetsuya Fujita has the scale of tornado frequency and incidence. If Britain has an average of 33 tornadoes every year, and in fact it's probably more than that, in an area 38 times smaller than the USA, you are twice as likely to witness a tornado in the UK than you are in America.
A friend of mine lived through that Birmingham
really?
tornado, and he was sat on the bus the following day, and an old lady behind him said to her mate, "Do you know what happened yesterday? We had a torpedo."
Torpedo.
Oh.
Why torpedo?
Tornado Alley, where's that?
Kansas.
Sorry?
Kansas.
Yeah, it's a number of states. It's Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and South Dakota. It's where the main season of really heavy tornadoes.
It's a twister.
That's right. And they're bad. I mean, obviously, they are much worse, than, as a rule, than British
So
ones.
bad you can get blown all the way to Oz.
You can, exactly, and not be in Kansas
Yes.
anymore. Now, what shouldn't you do for 20 minutes after lunch?
I spy with my little eye.
Swim. I can't believe that. That's surely. Everybody knows that.
It's a complete myth.
Gives you stomach cramps.
It's absolute nonsense. Basically, parents who don't want
Yeah.
to supervise their children in swimming pools because they personally want to go and sleep, probably. But the fact is that you don't get cramps after eating. There is no evidence of anybody getting into trouble as a result of swimming after
What if you
eating.
dive into the water, doesn't your stomach burst apart and your stomach converts? They used to say that at school. They would say, oh, yes, diving in after a heavy meal,
Yeah.
splash, little belly flop, oh, it'll all go everywhere.
Indeed. And for some reason, it's just something that's popularly held that is absolutely not backed up by any fact whatsoever that is known to medical science or anything else. So that's the answer to that question. And it brings us to the final reckoning. And our ace of spies tonight, well, we have two of them. In joint first place, with 5 points each, it's Vic and Clive. Closely shadowing them with 4 points, Joe Brand. But I'm afraid with his cover completely blown on -8, it's Alan Davis. That's all from Clive, Vic, Joe, Alan and me. I leave you with this chilling report of modern espionage recruitment techniques. 2 men and a woman recently made the shortlist for CIA assassin. And the first man was taken to a door and told that his wife was in there sitting on a chair, and he was given a gun and told to go in and kill her. And he said, I can't do that. I cannot kill my wife. You can't ask me to. And they said, well, then you can't be a hitman for the CIA. And so he left. And the second man was told the same thing. He went in, 5 minutes passed. He came out in tears, said, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. I can't be a CIA killer. And then the woman's turn came, and they said, this is your final test. Your husband's in there, he's sitting on a chair. Here's a gun. Go in, kill him. She went through the door. She'd barely closed the door. They heard 6 rounds fired straight away, and then banging and screaming and shouting and all kinds of noises, and she came out. She said, you bastards, you might have told me there were blanks in the gun. I had to beat him to death with a chair leg. Good night.